Hi. Paul here. Today is the Monday, the 23rd of August 2021. 1 day short of 8 months from my diagnosis, my cancer diagnosis, which was given to me on Christmas Eve last year. Merry fucking Christmas, Paul. Anyway, I say that with some slight jokes and sarcasm thrown in. But yeah, 1 day short of 8 months to the day, I received my call today from the team at Northwick Park to tell me the news of my post-treatment PET scan, which took place last week. So I'll start with telling you the result. So I woke up this morning, had 3 missed calls from a no caller ID, notification, and those no caller IDs are really, for me, only generally a few people. It's either Mount Vernon Hospital, Northwick Park Hospital, or sometimes High Cancer Care. They come through as no caller ID as well. So I saw 3 missed calls in a very short space of time and sent a text to the registrar of Roy Farrell, an amazing guy called Vikas. I sent him a text just saying, "Hi Vikas, it's Paul here. I've had 3 missed calls this morning from a no caller ID. I'm wondering whether the hospital called me. As you may know, I've had my post-treatment PET scan last week. I'm wondering if you got some news on that. Or is it, maybe Andrea?" So Andrea is part of the Macmillan cancer team, their head and neck, specifically cancer care team, that work with Roy Farrell and Vikas to support their patients like myself. And we've been missing each other quite a lot over the last week with calls to and from. And I just said, if it's Andrea, can you tell her I've tried to call her back? And if it's you Vikas, with the results of my PET scan, can you give me a shout back? He called me within 2 seconds of receiving that text, and he said, as bubbly as he always is, "Hi Paul, Vikas, how are you?" Yeah, I'm good, Vikas, how are you? Yeah, he said, good, everything okay? I said, yeah, everything's fine. He said, "So you saw the missed calls?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "So did you not see my number come up?" Anyway, just by chance, he had to put his call on his personal number on, he had to hide his personal number because he has to join these international conference things sometimes, and he just hides his number and forgets to turn it back on again. Anyway, he said, "Yes, it was me. And I just want to let you know that your PET scan results are in. And Paul, you are all clear. You are completely free of cancer. You have nothing to worry about. You have some slight swelling." He said, he did tell me, not even any adhesions to worry about internally. He said, "Paul, seriously, your neck looks fantastic, and basically body-wise, you are free of cancer." Well, I think before I tell you my reaction or my response, I think it's important to tell you, and when I say tell you, I don't know who I'm talking to here. But I have been told on numerous occasions how inspiring I am and have been through my cancer journey, how strong and positive and focused I have been, and how I have really stood up to the challenge of what I've been through. What I've been through is in itself a whole conversation. The diagnosis is, being told I have a very aggressive cancer, to then being told what surgery I had to have done, then knowing they had to try and get me in as quickly as possible because of the urgency of it, then being told of the facial palsy and paralysis and the recovery time, then being told about the 6 weeks of daily treatment. I mean, look, I think you got a flavour. But I have had a lot of, really genuine, heartfelt comments said to me about, Paul, honestly, you know, I've even had people say, Paul, I'm in awe of you. The truth is, you know, I take those compliments, and sometimes I walk away and I say to Nick, my now fiance, or, you know, anyone I'm close enough to chat to about this sort of thing, that sometimes I feel that being told I'm inspiring or I'm in awe of you or whatever, it's just me being me. But I kind of think they're just saying that because they don't know any other way to say I feel sorry for you. That's honestly what I sometimes took away. Because, so I think I need to explain. I have had so many compliments and comments and amazing things said to me, really. You know, I mean, to back it up, you know, Chris Curtis from the Swallows, shout out to you, Chris. You know, has publicly stated that I have been one of the most inspiring head and neck cancer patients that he's worked with. And he's worked with over 7,000 head and neck cancer patients. You know, to get told that is you know, moving me, I think, what is it? What's different that I've done? What? I don't understand. You know, surely everyone just does, you know, gets their head down and digs their heels in and, you know. So, I think I can now explain how I did it. I was told that I would have a post-treatment PET scan 3 months. By the way, excuse the sniffing, I've got, as a side effect of my treatment, sinusitis is now pretty much standard for me, and I am certainly struggling right now with that. Anyway, I was told after my treatment I'd have a post-treatment PET scan 3 months afterwards, and I finished on April the 9th, I think it was. And so when I got my diagnosis, I went into a particular mode, I guess. So, Paul, I was told, Paul, we think it's cancer. I sat down. First of all, I went and got Nick from the waiting room. And I said, it's not good news, come in. She came in. He said, Paul, yeah. I said, right, what is it? He said, it's a cancer called mucoepidermoid. It's a tumour in your parotid gland. But the reason you've been diagnosed with Bell's palsy is because the tumour's actually come out of your parotid gland, is climbing your facial nerve, destroying your facial nerve, and may have spread into one of your lymph glands. Yes, let me be clear. Spread, not multiplied. Very different thing when it comes to cancer. And he said it's also resting on your mastoid bone, Paul, in your skull behind your ear, so we might have to take out your mastoid bone. He said we also may have to remove your facial nerve. But that's okay, we'll cut your leg open and take a nerve from your leg. He said you'll have a numb foot for the rest of your life, but hey ho, we'll put that nerve in your neck and hopefully in 12 to 18 months, you know, you'll get some facial recovery. Anyway, so I listened to that answer. I then said, okay, when's the surgery? He said, this is Mr. Farrell, Roy Farrell. Sometime towards the end of January. I said, okay, fine. Can you go through it again for me what the surgery is? He ran through the details of the surgery. I then said, okay, now tell me about the cancer again. Is it isolated? We think so. I said, what you're doing, is it isolated or is it a potential risk of spread? He said, no, it's an isolated area of cancer. But we are going to take out every single gland on the left-hand side of your neck anyway, as a precaution. So I said, okay, so it's isolated. So you're telling me it's isolated. It's not in a gland where it's multiplied to other glands. He said, we don't know yet, but we don't think so. I said, okay. So I said, okay, surgery, that's the surgery. To end of January, fine. It happened to be on the 20th of January that I had the surgery. I said, then what? He said, well, then you've got to recover from the surgery. And Nick asked how long that'll be. And he said 3 to 4 weeks. And then I said, well, then what? So I basically, if you can tell from this, I started to insist I knew the facts and insist I knew the timelines. So I knew I was going in for surgery sometime around the end of January. I knew I had 3 to 4 weeks to recover. I then knew I was going to be starting radiotherapy for 6 weeks, roughly from the beginning of March. I knew roughly that would end around beginning of April, mid-April. I then knew it was 4 to 12 weeks to recover from that. I then knew it was straight after that, rest and maybe back to work, and then the post-treatment PET scan, where hopefully all being well, I get the all clear. So what I basically did is I broke my whole journey down from the start into, I guess, chapters or sections. I knew I was doing this anyway, but I think nice to be told you've been inspiring, and nice to be told how awesome you've been, and nice to be told people that in awe of you, whatever. I think what I want from this is to explain how awesome other people can be. To let them know that there's a process that allows them to not get lost in the bigness and the drama of it all. That hopefully they can take away from this, that if they look at their own journey ahead of them, instead of looking at it as a 6 to 9 month journey of hell, looking at it as a journey of multiple trips, that all they got to do is so instead of thinking it takes 9 hours to drive to Aberdeen, thinking, well, we'll do 2 hours to Birmingham, another 2 hours to Nottingham or Leeds, and then another 3 hours to Newcastle, then we'll go to Edinburgh. Breaking it down into mini journeys is the long and short of it, how I did it. So I was told that 3 months after my treatment I'd have a PET scan. Well, 3 months after my treatment I hadn't heard. Going to 4 months I hadn't heard. Starting to get nervous, and had an appointment with Farrell at Norfolk Park, and I said, by the way, I haven't had my post-treatment PET scan. So he got straight on it, and I actually also called Mount Vernon, I think the next day, to say, I'm waiting to hear. Anyway, randomly the next day I get a call that Mr. Farrell's made a request. Let's get you for the PET scan. And they initially tried to get me in for the following Thursday, and then said, actually, can you come in tomorrow? Well, I jumped to that because I really didn't need to be sitting around waiting. So I went for the option for the next day. That was last Thursday. And I've been an emotional mess, if I'm honest, since last Thursday. I have shared how I feel and what have you with Nick, as I always do. Because for me, it was all about the call I got today. It was having told you that I broke my journey down into mini journeys. The prize, the eye I had my prize on the whole way was ultimately the results of my post-treatment PET scan. It all came down to that. It was the final leg of my trip to Aberdeen. And knowing whether I'm going to have to then, once I get to Aberdeen, I don't know, swim to Norway. I don't know, stupid analogy really, but I think you get the point. Am I done when I get to Aberdeen, or am I going to have to find a route over to Norway through rough seas? And the truth is, in my heart of hearts and my stomach and my gut, I knew I felt okay. I looked back to the day that I realised something wasn't right. and I had to look into this further because I didn't feel right, and I listened to my body. I took myself back to that moment, and I thought, do I feel that now? No, I don't. However, and I think what a lot of people that maybe listen to this will understand, is that even though the percentage chance was small, well, smaller, the percentage chance of it not being gone was smaller than the percentage chance of it still being here. However, I've had cancer twice, and the percentages chances of the cancers I've had and what I've had to go through have always been the smaller percentages. So the reality is, I'm more scared of smaller percentage chances than the majority of people because I've been in the smaller percentage, not just once, twice, and more. I was blessed that my daughter was staying here last night, so that when I got the call, and just by chance, she was still lying in bed at 11 o'clock this morning when the call came in, but I just broke down on the call. I just started to go, and she knocked on the door and she came in. I said, "Oh, sweetheart." She said, "What's the matter, Dad?" I said, I'm clear. I'm clear of cancer. I've got nothing to worry about. I'm done. Well, it's been a strange day for her, and it's been a really strange day for me too. I then came downstairs, and Nick said, "Nick," and she went, "Yeah." I went, "So what's the matter?" I went, "I'm clear." But I was absolutely full of tears. I think, ahead of today, I spoke to Nick and said to her how I felt and how scared, fearful, nervous doesn't even come into it about the call or results I got today, because it's my life. It wasn't a call to say just things aren't great or things are good. It's my life that's either good or my life that potentially isn't. And in my heart of hearts, I knew I was okay, but my life was on the line. But I look back at my journey, and today was huge for me because it was the last part of my journey to Aberdeen. I'd stopped over and had some shit stays at some shit hotels. Today I got to Aberdeen, and I found I didn't have to go anywhere else. And I think I just need to pat myself on the back. I certainly must thank all of my family. My daughter, oh my God, she's been incredible. Nick, her two girls, wow. Lived with this with me throughout the journey. They've been incredible. Nick's family, my dad, my mum, my stepdad, just all my cousins, my family. Now's the time to say thank you. And I think now's the time to share maybe what my inspiration is, or what my awesomeness is, or what the thing that I have of awe of me is. It was my ability to break my journey down into multiple stops. Never thinking too far ahead. Always looking at the immediate challenge in hand. Always being aware of the time frame involved and what the time frame would be to get through it and complete it. So therefore, how long I had to dig my heels in for. Now I've had the most amazing call and result and news ever today. For me, it's about onwards and upwards. So I'm now looking at the time frame for my face to repair, for the new facial nerve, for my leg to connect. And I'm 7 months in from surgery. Hopefully in 5 months I should start seeing some results. So I'm now looking at different timelines. But the world to me today is brighter, more exciting. I'm walking with my head up, my chest out, and with admiration for the people that I've had around me. I'm not the amazing one. It's everyone around me that are the amazing ones, because they allowed me to do and be how I needed to be and to do what I needed to do. No one forced anything on me, but I do believe I did it the right way. And if anybody going through any journey can take from this and find the strength to break their fear down and their diagnosis down into smaller steps, focus on those smaller parts of the journey, then the overall journey, I promise you, will be easier than it would have been if you didn't. I can speak from experience. I'm not sitting here saying I'm amazing, but I know that my way worked. But I know it took a fuck lot to do. It took everything I had, mentally, physically and spiritually at times. In fact, not even at times, most of the time. But I fought back on all fronts, at all times, knowing those were the 3 areas I'd be affected in. And knowing those were the 3 areas I had to stay strong in. But knowing each time it was only for a period of time until the next one. Please, whoever listens to this, break your journey ahead of you down. Know and understand what you're going into. Listen to more than just your doctors. Listen to other patients and find other patients that have been through it. The front line in the NHS and hospitals, oh my God, they are incredible people. But there are patients galore and millions of them that have a lot more experience and knowledge and info to give you outside of the medical professionals. Please go and find it. Reach out to me if you can. I think, what's the point of this podcast? I think the point is that focus and positivity works. It works. But it comes in different ways and different guises for different people. But one thing's for sure, positive action is critical. And I genuinely believe I played it right. It took a lot out of me to dig as deep as I had to and did at times, but it was for each section of my journey. Then a little breather until the next one, and then here we go, dig your heels in again, and away we go. Understand the time frames, understand the facts and the risks and the whatever. Anyway, I'd say this with a lot of thought about whether I should say it or not, but if you can, if anyone can go through their journey and not, rather than be overcome by the whole fear and scariness of the whole thing, to break it down, look at the small parts, etc. I promise you, you'll have a better chance of winning than if you didn't. Because if I didn't do it this way, which is all I knew how to do, I wouldn't know how to do it any other way. And I've got to tell you, I've won. I've won. Oh, yes, I'll be in regular checkups the next 10 years, sure. But I'm cancer-free, and I've won. I'm a survivor. And I can sit here as a survivor and tell you what I did and tell you that it worked. And no one can criticise me, question me, doubt me, even think I'm wrong. I'm not. I was right, I am right, and I feel right. So I guess this podcast is for those that might be at the beginning of their journeys. Maybe it's for other people that just want to understand a bit more about how my journey went. But I think the real thing here is I've tried to help people since I got diagnosed, but they only listen to their medical professionals around them. That's cool, and they need to do that. But there is more support and advice and information and data and facts and experience that can be provided to you by people that have sat in the same chair and driven the same journey as you. Find them, go get it, listen, act on it. And then when you're clear and when you've won, go fucking celebrate life as well. Because it starts for me today.